some reason. So that's the thing we stress there.
Yes, hi. I understand that this is about, the NTSB showing up for accident investigations, and I have a situation where last November I had a catastrophic engine failure, those are the FAA's words, over the mountains of North Carolina. But I was managed to get an airport under me and a runway in front of me, and I landed safely, and it was just completely quiet. There was no personal injury, there was no property damage, except for the engine itself, and a few dents in the cowling from parts flying around under there. And I left the scene, and the people that were there, the people that were managing the FBO, called the FAA in, and they came in and took pictures and left. They've never contacted me. I've never spoken with them. I've called the NTSB, and they're taking kind of a passive interest in this because it's so low profile. And I was told that this engine will eventually be shipped back to Teledyne Continental, and it'll be swept under the carpet. They're supposed to do an analytical, which means an analysis of what happened. And there's a number of people out there that have this kind of engine that want to know just what happened. And I've been told that, well, it wasn't my fault, and we don't know yet whether it was a maintenance issue, whether it was a factory issue, or what was going on with that engine. But there's a number of people that want to know, but since it's so low profile, it gives Continental the opportunity to just say, well, it's on the shelf over here, and it'll be forgotten about. And because it's not NTSB driven, this is what I'm told, the analytical is not NTSB driven, that it's going to take its time. It could take 6 months to a year before they get around to it, if they even decide to do that. And so what can we do to try and move that process along, even though it's very, under the table, it's very low profile compared to some of the accidents that happen out there?
Well, there's a number of things we can do. First of all, I can assure you from having been on numerous accidents over the last 9 years that when we form an investigation party, you'll have an NTSB person, an FAA representative, and an engine rep and an airframe rep at the site. So there's typically at least 4 of us there. We form the team, and it's kind of a lightweight team, but we actually are very good at putting these teams together and working very well on it. Regardless of whether it was an investigation or not on it, which probably is not required, TCM, I can assure you, will tear that engine down. They do want to find out what happened. And so my recommendation today to kind of accelerate matters is that you go over to the Continental tent today and ask for Kirk Nelson. He's there. He's a rep. He understands this very well. I don't think the guy that runs analytical is here today. I didn't see him yesterday, but he could be here. And his name is Terry Horton. And if Terry's here, he's the one that would schedule that. Mind you, anytime they get a fatal accident or an NTSB coded accident, yes, they will put a priority on that simply because that's really important too. But they'll shoehorn you in, and I assure you they will go through that engine. And when they do it, it happens fairly quickly. We can typically go through an engine in about a day or less, depending on what the issue is. I think the longest one I've ever been on was about 2 days. Typically the shortest one's about 3 hours. So somewhere between 3 hours and 2 days you can have a written report saying what actually happened. Terry Horton is the manager of that particular area. Kirk Nelson is the contact here at Sun and Fun. He is here. He will be here all week. And they're at the Continental tent. That's the best I can do for you today. And yes, sir, that will work. They're very good at this, by the way, and they're very diligent on doing this. I've been through a number of teardowns. Yes. Okay, anybody else? Yes. We appreciate your questions. Go ahead.
Do you know, and this is outside the accident realm, do insurance companies, when people pull a parachute in a $300,000 airplane, do they look at that? Do you know if they cover it, or they say, sorry, that wasn't an accident?
I'm glad you brought that up. It's a good point. I think there were some wives' tales out there in the early days that, gee, if you pull the handle, you destroy the airplane, automatically. And it took a while for people to understand that, fiberglass and composites are very repairable. And of the 12 deployments that we've had, 10 of those have been not only repaired but returned to service. The other 2 weren't even recoverable. One of them was at the bottom of the ocean, and another one was really broken up when it hit the Hudson River. So I can tell you that they are very repairable, and for that reason, it's a fairly expensive airplane. We can actually do repairs on it, which in the insurance parlance is economically feasible. Let's say you have a $400,000, $500,000 airplane, you can sometimes fix it for $125,000. That looks to an insurance company like a really good deal. And I also might point out that when they come down under caps, they don't have to pay a death benefit, which, gosh, that should be in their accounting somewhere. So we think that it's a really good deal, and they do have the ability to fix these things. We do have composite classes that we teach at Cirrus, at the factory. We also have 160 some odd service centers out there that are capable of fixing these things, as well as a number of independent people that can fix them. So composites are truly a boon to the industry, and they're very crash-worthy, and they are very repairable. I hope I've answered your question. Okay, well, I thank you for your time and your patience this morning, and welcome to Sun and Fun, and go out and have fun. Thank you very much for your time.
Good idea.
Okay.